So, what if your region is not failing because it lacks talent, because it lacks universities, or because it lacks EU funding, but it really has a simpler and more painful problem? What if it does not know where it wants to go? Let's call this the strategy gap. Today on InnovEU, I speak with AnnaMaria Annicchiarico from Technopolis Tech Park in Puglia, southern Italy. Technopolis has lived through 40 years of digital transformation, regional development, incubation, European projects, green transition work. They've done a lot. They have a long history, and this conversation gives us one brutal lesson. Money helps, talent helps, but you need to know your desired direction. Otherwise, innovation systems just keep restarting from zero, and that leads you nowhere. Welcome to episode 17 of season 5 in InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Just a quick note before we continue. When AI, energy, trade, security, and infrastructure pressures all move at once, many organizations freeze. Others move first and get there first, get the opportunities first, before the market becomes crowded. The first mover opportunity radar helps you map these signals and identify three possible strategic moves for the next 90 days, immediate. It is self-guided, practical, and designed to be completed in 60 minutes. So you'll find the link in the show notes. Give it a try. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so welcome back to InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Today I'm joined by, how do you pronounce your name?
AnnaMaria is the first name, and Annicchiarico is the name, but it is very difficult for Italians too, so don't worry. Call me AnnaMaria is better.
Okay, AnnaMaria, thank you for introducing yourself. AnnaMaria is talking to us from the Technopolis Tech Park in Italy. And I would like to start there. Technopolis was created when, and what is Technopolis' role in the innovation ecosystem in Puglia and southern Italy?
The idea of the Technopark started in 80s, more exactly beginning of 1980. And the first realization, or the buildings of the first part of the science park, appeared in 1984. It has been created with a public support by European Commission and the Italian Minister for the Development of Southern Economy, because our region was considered among the region less developed in the country. So there was this possibility of receiving much more money specifically devoted to the development of local opportunities, like, for example, employees, industries, companies in general, services, and so on. The idea was copied, if I can say this, from the equivalent experiences made in Japan and the United States, and adapted to our specific conditions. The Puglia region is one of the region in the southern Italy. It is, I think, and now more than in the past, quite well developed if compared with other parts of southern Italy, but it is still considered a piece of the national territory that has specific necessities. And also this year we received a special amount of money financed by special call for ideas dedicated to the local development. The authors of this idea was essentially the University of Bari. because the university was already existing since the beginning of the 19th century. And in that period, they, more exactly 10 years before, in 1970, they buy the first high-level computer in southern Italy, starting activities in informatics in general and in information technology in general. And so there was the necessity of arranging and organizing something special to guide this revolution, because as it is obvious, starting by 80s, it was a revolution, exactly as now we have with the artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In particular, the main problem that the university intended to solve were, first of all, the creation of a specific degree in information technology. And I am an example of this because I attended the first year of the opening of this new degree. And also trying to diffuse the use of
Oops. Ops. Toate consomme internet, chiar să-și pa.
facilitated because it was not so easy for very traditional companies, for example, but also for very traditional public bodies to adopt computers, and after that period also networks and internet and so on. So it is a process started 40 years ago, but it is still in progress because technologies changed, technologies became more and more sophisticated, and so this necessity is still valid. So the creation of Technopolis as an independent company.
You muted yourself.
Independent, the idea of creating a new company totally independent from the university, but attending the aims and the objectives that have been defined by the university is still valid. And so after the creation of the Science Park in 80, more recently and more exactly in 2008, the university created a special kind of company because we are a company under the juridical point of view, but controlled by a public body like university. This means that we can act as a company, but under public control. This is a very specific kind of situation that it is also adopted by other organizations, and it is also accepted, for example, for the participation in public projects controlled under the point of view of public powers. So our activity changed in the time, obviously, and we passed through to all aspects of the revolution of information technologies, also in terms of telecommunication, satellite communication, and so on, arriving to today with essentially applications in terms of artificial intelligence, but also super calculus and very complicated models and so on in different fields, obviously.
So that's the story of Technopolis. What about yours? You already said you came from the University of Bari. Have you been there from the start of the the park?
Yes, I participated as external person to the project of this science park because at that time I worked for the local consortium made by the university and other bodies to implement, to develop the use of new technologies in our context. So I was external, I participated to the project when it has started its activity, I was there. And I'm still there So from the beginning, really from the
It's
beginning.
your baby.
Yes.
You're saying that the park is mostly connected with the digital transition in the various forms it has been assuming. Do you work mainly with the SMEs, with the startups, or with large companies? Or who are your companies in the
Yes.
park?
This exigence, because it was an exigence that was emerging from the beginning, because in the model of the American style, technology park, there already were incubators. So a few years after the creation of the park, and more exactly in 1989, 5 years after the creation, we started with our incubator. That means helping mainly young people, but not only, to implement their ideas. And in this process, we have been helped a lot by the regional government. That was a completely different thing. But exactly in those years, it happened that the Ministry for the Development of Southern Italy and the regional government started to create opportunities for young people who wanted to remain in Southern Italy, create their own company, or looking for other partners, for example, for creating a new company. So we take this occasion and we started with another extraordinary incentive for us. And we started with the first 3 years of experience. In the same period of time, with other similar organizations in Europe, we created altogether an organization that still exists, which is EBN, European Business Innovation Center Network, and we also always now we belong to this organization that is also the certification agency for our activity. And also in this case, what I can say is that the job was practically the same, but the conditions in which it is performed and also the social and economical conditions of the context are very different. So we had during this long period, because we have an experience of 40 years as incubator, many things changed, but we still help people in starting. We still use public financing opportunities to help them for starting. And what has been reinforced more and more is the relation with the university, because it is evident that for creating really innovative companies and a very innovative startup, it is necessary to start with good technological idea. And which place is better than the university for finding new extraordinary
Sure.
ideas? So this role has been confirmed by the university, and starting from 4 or 5 years, also the regional government created a public register for organizations like us. So now we belong to this register officially, and it is divided in two different parts of our activities, which are the suggestions and the support for ideas to become companies. So very, very low level of starting, many people, few companies really created, but very important for giving real possibility for a person who never had the other experience as an entrepreneur. And a second level as incubator and accelerator, which is dedicated to small companies, eventually already existing, but that want to grow, to scale up is the right terms for this. And so they need another kind of assistance. And this is now our job.
So in these years, obviously saw a large number of ideas turning into companies with different levels of success, I imagine. Some were very successful, others not so much. And from that experience, what do you think is the main problem, the main difficulty for startup ideas or research results to actually become real innovation, real successful companies? Is it getting the funding, getting the skills, the market access? What?
I think that we have two main problems, and they are, first of all, the knowledge concerning entrepreneurship, because there is no real diffused knowledge about what means to create a company and to manage it. And also for people coming from the university level of education is the same. Also for faculties like, for example, for us, economy and commerce, because they go out from that degree, but they don't know what to do. They are able to be employed in a company. They perfectly know how it functions, but they have no knowledge about the specific competencies and aptitude that an entrepreneur must have. And this is the first level of problems, because if you don't have a good level of preliminary competencies, you can start. Trying to solve this aspect, we make a lot of courses and seminars, starting from the high school, continuing during the university, and also at the end of the university, what we call the after degree courses. But it is not enough. And since 4 years, the University of Bari started also in arranging what they call extracurricular courses for all the faculties, teaching exactly the strategy for creating a company, how to look for the market, and so on. So the preliminary things that you have to know. The second difficulty is money, because it is evident that you can't create a company without money. And under this point of view, as I was saying before, it has been very important what the regional government made during this year, and that is creating a lot of opportunities, starting from a very small quantity of money for starting, for very young people without a very low level exigencies, and arriving to some millions of euros of investment for very important companies with a very high level of technologies. So at the moment, Apulia region is the more interesting region in Italy under this point of view. And in effect, what we are registering since the after COVID period has been that companies existing in northern Italy are arriving and are coming not only for tourism, not only because Puglia is beautiful, the weather is very good, not today because it is bad, but in general it is very good weather, and for the possibilities offered by this special financing for starting a business here, remaining and staying here for minimum of 5 years, and employing locally people. So this is the strategy that has been adopted. They are not enough, because for both the reason, because if you have also this money, but there is no enough knowledge about how to become an entrepreneur, this is not enough. It is evident, and there are much more people coming from outside, existing companies interested in an expansion in our region than original people from Puglia that start with their own company. So this is the complexity, but it is also the reason for which we are still working as incubator also in these days.
I would dare to say that from what I can see in your face, that's what you like to do. That's good, and you like to do that. Let me go to the next question about the green transition. I can see that Technopolis has been involved in some initiatives supporting green and sustainable innovation, like the project, I think it's called Green SMEs. Uh,
Yes.
what do you see as the biggest barriers that SMEs face when they're trying to become more sustainable? So, are you adding an extra level of complexity to what you just said?
Yes.
What's your view on that?
If you ask to small companies if they know something about sustainability and about the green transition, they know yes. If you ask them more specific questions, they don't know anything. They only say that it is very, very expensive to adapt their way of producing their, in general, what they do and how they do for adapting to ecological criteria. This is the first answer that we receive. But you have to consider also that we speak about small and medium and micro companies because in our regional context, they are the 98% of the total. So this is our population. We can change this. Understanding very well that this is the difficulty, what we did is has been to participate to the project that you have already mentioned, but also to other opportunities sustained by always public financing opportunities that act that in which we are really the beneficiary of these projects, but we have as a final beneficiary of the activity the companies. That means that we made a unique project for obtaining money from public bodies, European Union, and so on, but after we involve a lot of small companies helping them, trying to solve this problem of, oh, it is very expensive, I can't do this, I can't support this level of investment. So this is a very long process. We know this perfectly. We started about 3 years ago with this. It is not a sector because it is a problem which is common to all the sectors. So we work with people producing mechanics, I don't know, aerospace, food, agriculture. Everywhere there is this need. In some case, much more than in other, but in any way, this is a need. And the solution that for the moment has been adopted is this one that I have described. And in effect, during this period of time, the last 3, 4 years, we have already discovered that some specific and important case have developed this kind of aptitude in their context. They are happy to have done this, and they are now involved in interesting, also international process to demonstrate how this works. And we have many examples in different sectors that usually we invite for public events and seminars to demonstrate that it is possible, and that they can explain better than us to their colleague that it is possible, and the problems that they had and the difficulties, but also the advantages that they have received. Because perhaps this is the key lesson that we learned in this period, and is that it is true that they have to invest something, but they have some advantage arriving there because, for example, in tourism sector, this has created a specific niche of market dedicated to tourists that love to stay in a place where all those rules are respected and where the environment is really protected in some way.
Yeah, that is becoming a trend. I can see it here in Portugal as well. People like to think that they go on vacations and they don't leave behind a huge carbon footprint or others, because tourism is becoming heavy for many regions. Uh, let me change the subject just slightly. I can see that Technopolis has worked in national and also European projects in many areas and has participated in many EU-funded projects. What do you think is the advantage you get from international cooperation and from these EU-funded projects?
It is an enormous advantage because in each project we learn something. We exchange ideas with similar organization. We have the possibility of being in touch with a totally different context and in creating opportunities also for the companies that we assist to understand better the other environment, to understand better how to work, how to manage eventually their internationalization. So there is a direct advantage for us and an indirect advantage for companies that we usually, company, not only company, also public bodies. Because, for example, the municipalities we have worked with have really learned how to understand the other country, how to understand the problem that they have, how they have solved some problems, and how they can copy solutions and eventually also have a more success with their citizens by offering innovative possibilities for them. So it is very important. These are occasions inside and outside the European Union, because also our experience in Balkan area, where we essentially worked where we also worked with countries that were or are still in access situation, also there for essentially for the dissimilarities that there are. This is the interesting part of the project. What is different and how manage these opportunities together, respecting these dissimilarities and understanding how the other subject and the other countries works on the same problem very often, I must say.
I want to ask you about the future. What's your look, your position about the future? Are you optimistic about the role that science parks will have in Europe? And more importantly, yes, I really want to have your opinion on this. How do you see the Southern Europe growing in the next years after this apparent comeback in the past few years? It has been outgrowing the Central and Northern Europe. How do you see the evolution of Southern Europe, which, for if you remember, 10 years ago was seen like a lost case? What's your position about the future?
Ah, I can say that, first of all, the model of the science park is still something immaterial because in the past, but really I speak about the 90s, there was a public document of the European Commission defining the science park, defining the model, and giving authority to this instrument. After nothing happened, and in particular in our country, we have never been considered as important actors of the development process, and this is really a big mistake. The concept of having all together university, big companies, small companies, researchers, people very different working together, trying together to win projects and opportunities is very important and is very productive. But the help of the public bodies around at a regional level, at a national level, are this important the same. I had a very interesting experience in the past. To be exact, in '94 I started working in Andalusia. And this has been the most for 3, 4 years. I worked there also with the local agency for development of Andalusia. And what I discovered, and it is under our eyes now, is that the Spain that started with very reduced opportunities, in particular in that area, because Barcelona was Barcelona and it's a different situation. But Andalusia has made a special and a very, very interesting work because now they have created companies, they have created new industry, they have created a model of development different from the north of the country, but putting together a lot of tourism, but also other mechanical and food and many different industries that all together have created a level of development in that country that now is much over the Italian situation. For me, that I'm a researcher person, a person that studies and so on, for me it's a pity because what I did there and what I learned, because everywhere I learned something, but what I learned there, it's not I hadn't the possibility of proposing it here in Italy, and the effects are now visible. I imagine that you know the data that have been in Italy published today, and is that we are the worst of the European country, and this is a pity. Yes, we have the minimum level of development of the internal economy and the maximum level of debt. This is the worst situation that we can imagine. Now also Greece is better than us. So it's an incredible situation. We are really in a critical position now. And as I saw that other situation, and I followed them during those years, and we are still in contact with our colleagues in the park that have been created, and one of them, that one in Sevilla, I worked with them for the creation of the park, but also with Malaga, we started from the beginning. I have appreciated a lot what they have been able to do, and in contrast, that I must say that we have still problems in to be recognized as important actors of the development process, and so to receive the right opportunities for creating this. And this is really a pity. What happened in Italy, in particular in the last 15 years, has been that they have created one after the other center of competences, district, centers of innovation, centers of something, it doesn't matter, but never giving a stable opportunity to the development of the economy and the knowledge and so on. So this continuous changes that was also connected to the changes in the political life of the country and so on, created nothing because each 2, 3 years you change the rules, you change everything. In the last 2 years we had 3 different kind of possibility. The House of Emerging Technology, in Italian is CTE, Casa delle Tecnologie Emergenti, and the Digital Innovation Hub according to the European level, and at a local level some centers specialized for specific technologies. So you have 3 different kinds of subject. As you can see, Science Park are not included, or we have participated as one of the actors of this situation. There is confusion, I must say, typically Italian.
I hope, I know that in the next few weeks I'll have Sonia Palomo from the Malaga park here. But from what your knowledge of this situation, wouldn't you say that their success is in large part the result of long-term, persistent work, less talk, less political discussion, and more persistent work?
When I was there and I participated to the works inside the local agency of development, the regional agency of development, I discovered that they adopted a totally different methodology. First of all, they decided where to go, and after they asked for ideas to arrive there. Here, they don't say anything of where to go. They ask, have you some ideas what we can do? So, who is more able to present this idea in a more acceptable way or more interesting? And you start, but it is not a part of the local public policy. And for these reasons, it immediately ends because it is not included in a strategy. So what I appreciated is perhaps a less, if you allow to me to say this, a less democracy in the process because the things were decided at the high level of decision at the region, but more effective results. It is evident if I consider the economical data.
And in both cases, the role of tech parks can be relevant. It just,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
what you're saying, it just depends on the goal setting and the
yeah.
coordination.
Yes, yes. But the general model is independent from being innovation center, science park, because the concept is that if you have all together working, public bodies, big companies, small companies, creation of startups, and so on, all together with citizens, for example, for understanding which are their real needs and where you can intervene to ameliorate the quality of life and to change something, to simplify processes. We have a level of bureaucracy which is still terrible, really terrible. To obtain one permission or something else, you need months and months, for not saying years. It is not this compatible with a quick development process.
Well, I don't want to abuse your time, but I just want to ask you, do you have any final message you want to end the interview with?
The message is that two main things are important. The first of all is that it is evident that independently from those difficulties, we are working, we are combating, if you want, these difficulties. We are facing with always new problems, but we are working and we are convinced that we can do something. The second message is that innovation is so important in any piece of our life, of our way of production, in our way of spending our free time, everything, in everything, that it can be lived to the personal initiative, but it must be helped and guided and also not controlled in the bad meaning of this term, but in terms of giving opportunities in this direction. And under this point of view, I want to say to you that many places in our region, for example, are not served by a high-speed telephonic network. So how you can imagine any development if you can't telephone, if you can't have a quick access to internet. So there are infrastructural and basic problems that must be solved, and we are working also for this.
Okay. So thank you very much, AnnaMaria Annicchiarico, I hope,
Perfect, perfect.
and hope to see you soon.
I hope
Bye.
so. Thank you, Gast.
So I hope you enjoyed the interview. AnnaMaria's experience shows that regional innovation also needs capability, translation, and continuity. Capability means people must know how to become entrepreneurs, not only employees. Translation means public funding must turn complex transitions into, well, usable opportunities for SMEs. And continuity means strategy must survive political cycles. That gives us the three lessons of this episode that I took from this episode. First, technical competence is not the same thing as entrepreneurial competence. One university can produce excellent engineers, scientists, managers, but that does not automatically produce founders. Founders who know how to test a market, survive uncertainty, price a product, hire people, scale a company. For EU projects, this matters. If your consortium has strong research but weak business capability, well, the impact section will probably look fragile. Okay, lesson number two. For SMEs, the green transition starts as a CapEx problem. AnnaMaria says that when small companies are asked about sustainability, they know it matters. But when asked what it means in practice, the answer is often simple. It's expensive. That is not resistance. It is a sense of risk. Lesson number three, destinations beat random ideas. This is probably the deepest part of the conversation. AnnaMaria compares Italy with Andalusia in southern Spain. Her point is simple. Andalusia first decided where it wanted to go. Then it asked for ideas of how to get there. Italy, in her view, often does the opposite. So my big takeaway from AnnaMaria is this. Innovation does not fail only because people like ideas. It fails because ideas are not connected, or when ideas are not connected to direction, capability, and continuity. So stop chasing random calls. Define the destination first, then build the consortium, the work packages, the impact pathway around that destination where you want to go, where you want to be in the future. If you want more practical tools for EU projects, subscribe to InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, and or to Polis Doxa, the transitions letter. And if you are working on a project, if you are a science park, a regional innovation strategy, or a transition challenge, just share this episode with your team. This was episode 17 of season 5 in InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Hope you enjoy it. See you next time.